Very few men exist that are as dangerous as this one. We'll take a look at the story of the famous El Chapo. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was born on April 4, 1957. El Chapo means shorty, a nickname he's been given because of his short stature of just 5 feet 6 inches or 168 centimeters. He is regarded as one of the most dangerous and most powerful drug traffickers in the world. Let's explore his story. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell button. El Chapo was born in Sinaloa and then raised in a poor family whose primary method of survival was farming. As a kid, he often found himself the victim of physical abuse at the hands of his own father. Later on, through his father, El Chapo entered the drug trade, helping his father grow marijuana for various local dealers. In the 1960s, their marijuana business included their cousins as well. By the late 1970s, El Chapo began working with one of the nation's rising drug lords. They began running drugs to major Mexican cities and working with major drug traffickers. Together, they came up with a plan on how to move drugs through Sinaloa and into the United States. In the 1980s, El Chapo is a member of the Guadalajara Cartel. After the arrest of his friend and colleague Felix Gallardo, the Guadalajara Cartel splits into factions. El Chapo became the leader of his own cartel in 1988, which was named the Sinaloa Cartel. The Sinaloa Cartel went on to control roughly 40 to 60% of Mexico's drug trade, with earnings at around $3 billion annually. The U.S. Justice Department describes the Sinaloa Cartel as one of the world's most prolific, violent, and powerful drug cartels, moving billions upon billions of dollars in various drugs, some of which are marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. In 1992, the police have found 6 bodies belonging to El Chapo's top men dumped along highways. Autopsies showed that all 6 men were tortured and shot. Just 9 months later, 6 more bodies appeared. It turned out that they were gunned down by gunmen working for El Chapo. In June of 1993, El Chapo became wanted on charges of drug trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. He was arrested and transported to Mexico, where he was sentenced to 20 years in a maximum security prison. It didn't take long for El Chapo and his men to start giving out bribes, and after $2.5 million was spent in bribes, El Chapo escaped prison in a laundry cart. The U.S. government announced a $5 million reward for information leading to El Chapo's arrest and conviction. El Chapo's cartel became so powerful and started earning so much that in 2009, El Chapo appeared on Forbes' billionaires list. Even though his crimes were truly terrifying, El Chapo became a popular topic for songwriters. His life has been romanticized in the local folk music. El Chapo was known for being a sort of a local philanthropist. In one instance, people have reported that El Chapo's henchmen entered a restaurant and said, "Gentlemen, please, give me a moment of your time. A man is going to come in, the boss. We ask that you remain in your seats. The doors will close and nobody is allowed to leave. You will also not be allowed to use your phones. Do not worry, if you do everything that is asked of you, nothing will happen. Continue eating and don't ask for your check. The boss will pay." On February 22, 2014, El Chapo was arrested once again and put in a prison in Mexico. Immediately after, his men bought a property near the prison and started construction work on 2 buildings. As it later turned out, the buildings were completely empty and were used as a cover to what was actually going on. In just 16 months, they dug out a tunnel leading to El Chapo's cell. But this was no ordinary tunnel. It had rails, carts, lights, and an air supply system, and it was a mile long. During the night, El Chapo crawled through an opening in the shower area to the tunnel. Using a motorcycle, he was a mile away from the prison in just 2 minutes. He changed clothes, got into a truck, and disappeared. During his run, he was quoted as saying, I have a fleet of submarines, airplanes, trucks, and boats, which goes to prove the power of the Sinaloa cartel. On January 8, 2016, members of the Mexican Special Forces broke into El Chapo's house. After a shootout in which 5 of El Chapo's bodyguards were killed, El Chapo was captured once again. In January of the following year, he was turned over to U.S. authorities. During his trial, it became clear that he was responsible for 2,000 to 3,000 deaths. He once paid a $100 million bribe to former Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. El Chapo has been credited with creating at least 62 smuggling tunnels between the United States and Mexico. If you made it all the way to the end, we recommend you check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.